You got up, you kept going. That was in there.
I think they know the writing's on the wall. Maguire, Studio, back to Maguire. Gary Maguire for Leeds. The young hero to win the grand final,
Hi everybody, welcome to the Lot Pod, the Leeds Rhinos Lot 17A podcast, kindly sponsored by ACD&B, who are a branding and creative design agency based in Farsley, Leeds. They create standout brands. For any companies out there that need a brand new logo or a brand refresh, just get in touch with ACD&B. Thanks as always to them for sponsoring us on the podcast, with the fanzine, with everything else. We love them and thank you again to them for their support. This is the match review panel for Leeds Rhinos versus Warrington Wolves. Joining me as always, my right-hand man, my co-host, but our amazing Statman Reese.
I'm a stat.
Freeze.
Look at us recording on the day of the game again.
I think we've only done this twice, in ever the Lot Pod podcast history.
I think so. I think maybe yes, once or twice. We did it for the Wakefield game because things had to be said.
The emergency pod. We needn't worry because we're going to be in the playoffs now.
Yep. Oh, you're here. Welcome along. Welcome back. Sorry. Welcome back. I mean, first of all, as we record this, what a day of sport.
It was, wasn't it? I know a certain someone who was our guest in about 5 seconds was in the original Oak at 11 o'clock this morning. So it was a run of games, wasn't it? And obviously the reserves have just...
That would explain everything that he says. Please take into account. He is quite clearly taking a lot of drink. I mean, obviously the Women's World Cup, and then the Leeds Rhinos wheelchair side played.
The women,
the men, the women, the reserves, all the Premier League. I mean, and the weather was immaculate.
Yeah,
it was, and of course, we won. So
yeah, it's nice to leave.
We are clicking our heels together. Had we lost, I don't think we'd be recording the day of the game. Do you agree?
I'd have been sat in my underpants having a Chinese.
Yep. Well, I'm going to sit in my underpants having a Chinese after this, because that's what we do. We Skype each other.
Yeah.
And lie on our sofas and eat Chineses remotely. That's what we do. That's just how in love we are. Who's on with us today?
We've got our good friend Laurie. Laurie, how are you?
How drunk are you?
Hello. I'm not gonna lie to you. Barely drunk. I mean, I think literally I've had as many pints as some at Warrington fan had teeth today. I mean, that's literally.
It's in early.
I thought I'd get a little digging. No, I've only had a couple today.
Hang on, you said you can't have had that many drinks. The only time I saw you today, you had a pint of beer in your hand.
To be fair, that's only about I only had about 3, and that was my third. So yeah, it's quite a ginger in hot weather is not a good idea anyway. So you have to drink, pop and So yeah.
So a match review panel time: Leeds versus Warrington. In true Lot Pod fashion, we start with positives. Reese, what positives can we take from this one?
Somehow we won.
What do you mean somehow?
We
have little faith, young man.
We won. It was nice, I think, we've had so many close games this year where luck hasn't gone our way or things haven't gone our way, and it seemed to today I think things did go our way in certain elements. I was telling them to stop showing the replay of Hooley's try because it looked a bit flat on the screen. I was like, turn it off, but I just I think things went our way today. So nice to have a win. So I think that's positive for me. The Cam Smith Appreciation Society is way back in full flow again after a storming performance, I think, from Cam. Really good to see Luke Hooley get his first try for the club. I thought Luke did really well. He dealt with some really hard high balls today, especially a couple on the line, and he took his try really well. And the other one, I've got two more. I didn't really want to include Sam Walters because he's going to Wigan, so it just leaves a really sour taste in my mouth. And then I thought Caesar played really well as well today.
Laurie, positives?
Luke Cooley, I was quite shocked actually. Without sounding harsh on him, I thought he played really well. Under the high bomb, he looked great, and he actually looked quite good with ball in hand as well when he was going forward. Cam Smith was superb by Smith today. But one thing that I thought he helped us influence was the fact that you could see that last 20 minutes, he started running the ball forward, didn't he? Straight down the middle of the park. And it tired Warrington out. If you look at that last 10 minutes, they really were struggling to catch us when we were going forward, when he started taking the ball directly, down the middle.
Because Cam was given a rest? Because Cam has normally been playing 80 minutes most of the time.
Yeah.
And in recent games, he's had 10, 15 minutes off. And I think he had 2 breaks today because I think he came off a bit in the first half. Or at least it may be an extended break. But I wonder whether him just coming on and injecting a bit of life, whether there's a bit of difference there. But there was certainly a moment where Cam Smith was definitely back on the field and he knew about it quite quickly.
Yeah, because he was literally going straight down the middle every time. And he looks confident with the ball in his hand, which, I'll be honest, there's been a few performances in the past few weeks where he hasn't looked like that. And
no,
he looked good. He looked really good with it. It was almost like this time last year, Cam Smith, which, that's how magical he was. So it was a good performance from him today.
Thought it was a game changer when he came back on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, I don't know, a bit like a superhero type thing. And, like he went off the field and he kind of came back on. He must have felt like when he were on sideline, no, we aren't losing this. No, I'm not letting this happen. He came on like a man possessed. And to be fair, like Reece said there, he came on like a man that had a rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if he needed it. I don't know if it was the weather. I don't know. But he just came back on and completely changed the complex of the whole game in every sense of the word. I think he made 2 breaks. One led to a try.
Yeah, there was one that he broke through the middle
for Hooley.
And Hooley just got caught by Thewlis, I think it was, wasn't it?
Have we scored off the back of that though, didn't we?
Yeah, because Reece did that. Because I thought we'd screwed it up and Reece did that really quick pass along the ground. Nene scooped it up and then just did that outrageous offload that I don't know how he's done that offload. And normally this season, that offload wouldn't have gone to a player. But for some reason or somehow, it went to Bentley.
I don't know how I'm on that side at South Stand, directly in front of us. I don't know how he made that pass.
He must have got a shout from Bentley, or he must have known he was there or something. But it was such a great offload.
It's one of the best passes I've seen in years.
Yeah,
absolutely years. And I was kind of glad that we had our league coverage, because had it been just the Rhinos, not on any kind of broadcast, I don't think we'd have got a decent angle of that pass.
No,
that were magical. Just back to Cammy, I thought he ran well. I thought he tackled well. I thought he hit the line loads. I mean, we've spoke loads about this guy, and we have the Appreciation Society and everything, but the time is now, Laurie. He has to be the Leeds Rhinos captain.
I think he is the captain, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I think in anything but being named, over the time, he is the captain, because let's be honest, he's always vocal. He's always leading from the front. Today, he was literally... He was guiding the team even from a loose forward position to me. It looked like he was almost taking
That's one of my questions, actually.
He just seemed to be taking it. It was almost like he was being a halfback stroke loose forward and playing it loose forward. It was very much like a man of two. It was almost playing like a man possessed. I actually think it was probably the best performance by any Rhino player this season. You might disagree.
I probably wouldn't go as that far, but I'm not naming the other person because it's a snake.
Yeah.
You met him today, actually. But I don't think it's the best performance because, again, I think, the first half was not great. It was, again, another game where it wasn't a full 80 for Leeds. I don't think it was even a full 40 in the second half, to be fair, because some of the defence was shocking today. Their try, Ashton's try, where Dufty just walked past Bentley. And then there was a try where Ratchford went in on the right edge where McDonald and Fossatuer just got caught flat-footed. So I don't think there's a performance in there. It's the best we've ever seen this season. But it was that where he came on I think he came on either about when Hoodie scored or just after, but it kept that momentum going for me. And obviously we got the try off the back of it.
I thought our right edge defence were diabolical today.
It was bad.
Now we won the game, but I mean, we've got to be better than that. And it will, I think, straight from the first try, it was Dufty who put the kick through and collected his own kick, I think it was.
Yeah.
Jared's got to get rid of that. You know, he has a chance there when he puts the kick through. Just punch it out, punch it clear, get something on it to get rid of it. And I felt from that moment, Warrington, Williams, Dufty felt this Ratchford, this right edge of Leeds, it's looking soft today. And they just continued to attack it to great success. It was extremely annoying. Just back to Cam. Reece, do you think because we've got Corey in the halves, because I agree with Laurie, he's pretty much took the question before I've even asked. I did feel like Cam did so much today. He was almost like a hybrid half loose forward. Do you feel Rowan knows and is leaning on his skills, on Cam's skills, to say you're going to have to do a bit more to support Corey and Aidan?
I think that's his role anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
That's his role anyway. Whether you've got the best 6 and 7 in the world in that side, I like that ball playing 13 as a role because it means you've got 3 playmakers and it's hard. You know, it means you can have a playmaker on either side and Cammy coming wherever or whoever coming in and getting involved. So I think that's his role in Rowan Smith's team, regardless. But I do think he's probably taken a bit more weight off the shoulders for Corey because, you know, I didn't see Corey really taking first receiver often. I think Cam was taking it most of the time. But I think the advantage of when Cammy takes first receiver, he can also take it in and make a couple of meters as well, which Corey wouldn't necessarily do. But yeah, whether he took more on today, I don't know. But that last 20-minute stint from him was certainly something else.
Playoff pushing stint, that. Agreed?
I'm still not convinced. I mean, we were lucky today. There's someone else saying, I think Warrington lost that game as opposed to we won it. They
disagree.
They had the try and touch. If they'd have got that second try, which was in touch, I thought we were 10-0 down after 10, 15 minutes. And then they dropped another one, didn't they? They dropped a clanger in the first half.
Yeah, but Danny Walker bombed one, didn't he? Bombed a tackle.
And then Dufty.
Who cares?
And then Dufty at the end.
I mean, hang on. Yeah, who cares? We've just beat the Super League champions from April. You know,
exactly, Laurie. That's exactly what we said.
They must be the first team in Super League to win 8 on the bounce of the season, but then also to lose 8 out on the bounce of the season.
I mean, we've heard of football teams winning the league in April, but Warrington, wow, that were amazing. Can't believe they made the league, and now they're.
I'll be honest with you. You mentioned George Williams. Did you even realise he was playing at times? He seemed very distant.
I didn't think he had a bad game, to be honest.
I thought him and Dufty were great. Yeah.
I thought Dufty were awesome, but it'd have been nice if a Leeds player fancied tackling him.
Yeah. The standoff defence certainly enraged the South Stand quite a bit today.
Yeah, it'd have been nice if someone actually wanted to lay a finger on him.
I think Sam Walters came out the line once and got someone, and everyone's like, "That's what we want."
Yeah, we need someone to go out and actually grab him before he can step everybody. But he's a good player, and speed kills, and he's got it. He's got it. Another player that deserves a lot of credit today is Aidan Caesar. Now, this podcast, we have bagged Aidan on more than one occasion, but credit where it's due, Reece.
Yeah.
Again, similar to Salford, I thought it was excellent today.
Well, someone else has put in the comments, actually, says he looks dangerous when he runs with the ball, but he just doesn't do it enough.
Like Cameron always says, yeah.
Yeah, Cameron always says, and he certainly ran with the ball today. I thought his kicking game was fairly good today, but I thought his kick for Fussy 2 was perfect. It was a bang on the money. And I don't know why we don't kick to Fussy 2 in the air more often. He's a big, bulky guy. Like he's almost like a Ryan Hall sort of size person. Like, why don't we kick to him? He's brilliant at that. But that was a great kick. But he created that try for Luke Cooley because Nenny McDonald's got caught. And he took the offload, but it was his turn of pace. I think Warrington had fallen asleep, but he took the advantage and went straight through. But no, Caesar was in control of the attack in the second half, especially not so much in the first, but in the second half, he certainly took control of our structure a bit more, and then obviously helped more when Cammy came back on as well.
I don't think it's a coincidence. I kind of asked Reece this question before, Loz, but I don't think it's a coincidence that Blake Austin is no longer here, and Aidan Caesar turns up and produces for us.
No, I agree. And weirdly, I think the players around him actually have helped him, especially today, because there was one point where I was trying to just focus on watching Caesar, and he looked and he was actually running with the player, the ball, which I don't think we've seen him do that a great deal. We've seen him like almost step back in the line, and I just thought that's not what we've seen from you. We don't see that, or we have not shown it enough for us to go well done. And there must have been, I think it was in second half, he did that quite a lot, and I just thought we need to see this more often if we can. But I mean, are we going to see it more? Who knows? But I think he seems to have settled down. He settled down today, I think. I don't know.
I thought he ran really well. He was always like looking for a gap to hit and to put someone through. Did he set up the try for Hooley?
He set up the try for Hooley. That was the one where he took the pass from Nene and he ran for about 50 metres and obviously 2-on-1 with Luke Hooley. I don't know if did he give the pass for Walters?
I think that was Jared.
Yeah.
I think. Someone in the comments can clear this one.
On that try, by the way, with Walters, he was like that with his arms in front of the Warrington fans. On the first try, I was like, might be a bit too early for that, Sam.
But what about... Sorry, what about
he did it full time as well and hosted it.
When we were winning by 8, the South Stand were giving it all. It's always your year.
Yeah, I was like,
can we please just shut up?
Yeah.
And then Warrington scored and converted within about 40 seconds. And I'm looking around going, just tempting.
When we started singing that, and we also started singing the "We're on Our Way," I was like, "Shut up!" Like,
wait till full time.
That got some
in
very
the
interesting.
game. It's a different animal.
Full
time.
Go on, Oi.
I'm going to say that got some very interesting comments from Warrington fans about when we were singing about going to Old Trafford. They were like, "No, you're not. Shut up!" and all this like it. Like, even I'm thinking,
"Yes, we are."
Cut it, lads.
Yeah,
so there's definitely 2 assists for Caesar. Anyway, going back to the point today.
So this is the Aidan Caesar we need to see for the rest of the year. There's no one else, and I mean, in this form, it's acceptable quite clearly. But I was kind of looking today when there was a moment when I think he went down, or I might have got him mixed up with someone else. And I thought, God, if he gets injured, we're half backless because for whatever reason, Rowan just doesn't fancy Jack. So we've got.
I think people might be reading a bit too much into the Jack thing at the moment. Corey is a bit older, and Corey struggled today, I think. But I think people might read into it too. I'm surprised not to see Sinfield in there, but I think we might be reading a bit too much into it. He's still a young lad. He's just done his A-levels. He must have been playing for the reserves today. I'm assuming he was.
Yeah.
So, look, time will come. But if we've got a system that he wants to rock for the rest of the year, then let's just keep the consistency, because that's one thing we just don't have at the moment in the side.
Agreed. Luke Hooley, first try. It always feels really nice to me, probably just to everyone else, but when someone being present for when someone scores their first try, it feels quite historic. What did you make of his whole performance today, Loz? I thought he played really well.
Yeah. I must admit, when I saw his name on a team sheet again, I was like, "Oh, here we go." I hope he has a good one. But as soon as he started, he looked comfortable. His body language, even under high bomb, it looked like it's mine. I'm having it. No pressure. And there were one of high kicks he took right on our line, and it was right in front of us on Western Terrace, and he took it so superbly, and literally right in front of chasing Warrington players. And he looked fine. He looked so comfortable. And I think that performance today, that could be the benchmark. It could say, that could be the stepping stone for him actually playing really well for the rest of the year, having that confidence to claim the number 1 shirt. I just think perfect performance for him today.
I mean, we gave him man of the match last week, didn't we?
Yeah. Do you think, Reece, that he comes across to me as a player that kind of is kind of thriving at playing Super League? I know it's very early days, but do you think he's someone who could adapt quite quickly for the rest of the year?
I think we've got no choice because Myers out anyway.
Well, there's no one else.
So whether he was good enough or not, I think we'll be having him there. But I think this is a really good example of not trying to shuffle things around and just playing players into positions and trusting them. You know, Luke had a really tough game at KR, and obviously we've had Hanley at fullback for quite a lot. But Luke's come on massively since that KR game. He's gone back to Batley, got his form back and his confidence. He played well last week for us, or 2 weeks ago for us, sorry. And today was better. He was even better than he was last week. And I think he looked quite comfortable. He looked quite calm. Like, I didn't feel nervous at all when he was taking the high balls. So, yeah, you may be right. Maybe he might now start to feel more comfortable and playing at this level. And I don't think he'll be one for the one shirt for me. But what I do think, the good thing about Luke is that that's the sort of squad player that we want to be able to rely on when we need to shuffle the team around. If someone does go down, we've got a calm and collected fullback to play. And I think at the moment we've seen that in the last 2 games from Luke. But yeah, I was really chuffed to see his first try. Really, really chuffed.
And it seemed like all the squad were.
Yeah, the squad seemed to really like it as well. Yeah, which is good.
It seemed to be get a nice pat on the back. That kind of depth that Reece mentions there, and Hooley being perhaps not first choice fullback, but certainly one of our fullbacks. I want that exact same depth or very similar in the halves next year. I want kind of a player where, say we have 2 starters and then a Luke Hooley type squad player, quote unquote, and then Jackson Field. Yeah. I mean, that to me, that kind of depth should just be bog standard. Right? I'm just sick and tired of not having enough halfbacks.
And those squad players and those academy players can go out on dual reg, a bit like Luke has done this year with Batley. So yeah, I think you're right, but I think I'm quite comfortable knowing that Luke is our backup fullback right now.
Yeah,
agreed. Someone came back today. It was yes, 2 came back, but it's very, very nice to see Harry Newman make his return.
Did you recognise him?
For the Rhinos again.
I was looking for his skinhead for the half the game, and I'm like, where is he? I completely lost him for most of the game. I couldn't find him because I was looking
Harry
for
Newman's 5th return, I think it was. What did you make of his performance, Laurie? Obviously, it's his first game back, so he's still going to be a bit rusty. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I don't think he's anywhere near full fitness, but he played all right. There were a few moments where he did look rusty and missed a couple of tackles, maybe, if I remember right. But I suppose he needs the game time, doesn't he? He needs to get back out there. But was he right? Do you reckon he was fully fit? Well, close to fully fit? I don't know.
I think it was just about getting
it started.
Yeah, I think
I have a feeling into it. I have a feeling Luke Hooley's HIA brought him on earlier than Rowan Smith would have liked.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Much earlier. But he didn't look out of place, but he also didn't like the world up either. But he did some really good carries. He wasn't afraid of the carries either, which we know we like about Harry. There was one bit of miscommunication between him and Hanley in the first half on the left hand side, which was wasn't great. But yeah, look, it's always good to have Harry Newman back on the pitch because the guy produced something out of anything.
You're right there. He does. He always carries it. He always carries hard. He carries often. And he never seems to, even when he comes straight back from an injury, like he has done many times, he never seems to shy away. He always seems to want the ball. It's almost like, even with his diabolical injury record, it hasn't deterred him. It hasn't made him think, I might not take this.
It's never shaken his confidence, has it?
Never.
Like if I had a recurring injury, and it's not always recurring, is it? But it's always in the same sort of area. I would be feeling quite worried now and then about going into contact. It'd take me time to get confidence. Maybe he's got that confidence back in training, or I think part of it is just Harry's mentality. He wants to play rugby, and I think he doesn't have a 50%, does he?
Bit of a random question. Do you think Rowan feels comfortable enough to play him all the time?
I think so, but is this the second time Harry? This is the second time Harry's had a bad injury under Rowan now, and Rowan's been here a year.
Yeah,
so it must be in the back of Smith's mind to think, look, this kid's great, and I love him, and when he's on the pitch, he's without doubt one of our best players, but he does get injured. So
that's down to follow the advice of his medical team, isn't it? He's got to trust his medical team if Harry's fit.
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah, and it's trusting the medical team and Harry. But I don't know, Laurie. Maybe it'll be one of those where Rowan starts to think, right, because he definitely played longer than what was planned today, without a doubt. You know, the HIA forced him. He may have had half an hour or whatever was planned in training, but maybe Rowan's now looking at it as if to say, right, we'll manage your minutes. I don't know, but I feel when he's on the field, he is dynamite, absolute dynamite.
Yeah.
He's one
Tommy
of
G
those
just
players.
commented saying that he's only played 21 games since 2020.
That's mad, isn't it?
Well, it is. It's
That's
awful.
4
for him.
seasons, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awful for him.
Jeez.
Absolutely awful. I just hope he stays fit because I just feel like we've said this loads, probably because we have, but he is one of our strike players, and it's just so good to see him on the ball because even returning from injury today, it just strikes fear into defences, and it was good to see him back. Fussy Tua, what did you make of him today, Reese?
Again, he caught the kicks well in defence. He obviously got his kick. He caught the kick for the try. He always carries well out from deep. I think that's one of the qualities I really like about Fussy. So it might have been one of those performances that would have gone under the radar if he hadn't scored a try, because I think he played well without the try. But I think the try has brought it into light that he has a good game. But again, it's another one of injuries, isn't it? But like, if Fussy can play like that 25 games a season, or how many rounds we play now, I'll lose count. You know, he'd be a phenomenal player for us and easily worth another contract. And at this rate, I'd probably still give him another year anyway, if we haven't. But yeah, it was really good to see Fussy back again. Great to see him on the score sheet. And again, he does what he does really well, carrying out from the back.
Laurie, Fussy Tua?
Yeah, it looks all right. It's one of those where, I mean, that defensive side looks a bit at the time.
Oh, yeah. Shit, I forgot
that. Yeah. Yeah, it was a little bit shady, but I think that might be a case of him and Nene getting back to playing together. I don't know, but he looks all right. And the try was, I mean, I didn't even think he would get that kick. And sure enough, got it and scored. But no, he's a good player, and he's a big machine, and that's what you need. So hopefully, fingers crossed, you know, we might see him hopefully injury-free for the rest of the season.
I thought he took that try really well. You know, determination, endeavour, jumped high. I can't remember who the Warrington player was. Don't matter, because he kind of took it from the air, said, "Give me that thing," slammed it down. And like Reece said, we don't seem to utilise that anywhere near as much as we should. Because I would back him in the air against probably the majority of the league, and yet
I think so.
It doesn't seem to be something that we even attempt majority of the time. Seem to go to the other side or not to him. I mean, in terms of him getting another contract, I think that's a bit of a no-brainer, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not sure what wingers are available on the market, but I think we've got much bigger problems at half and fullback. So I don't think there'd be many people listening to this or on X or any social media that would be upset if it was announced he has signed a new deal. I think the most would be like, yeah, probably a good idea to get him tied up. Because when he's on the pitch, which is, again, the biggest concern that he's in the stand, but when he's on the pitch, I do think he's one of the best wingers in the league. And we should utilise him more, I feel. Yeah. His centre was awesome again today. Nene McDonald. I just feel we're running out of words to describe this man.
Yeah.
Has anybody got one?
He just
class.
He's probably been the only consistent in the Rhinos side this season, I think.
Or the biggest.
Yeah, he's always at minimum a 7 out of 10, isn't he? Like, you know, in terms of his performances, he always carries the meters. He always carries hard. He's got that bit of flair about him as well. And then that offload again today was just outrageous. It's just outrageous. You know, so yeah, I mean, again, a bit on the defensive side, which I think Nenny does need a bit of work on. But I don't think anyone can argue with that 4-year deal.
No. That offload though, I don't even know how he did it. I have no idea.
Round the back, I'm going to have to watch the highlights again.
I couldn't comprehend. It looked like being tackled, and then all of a sudden Bentley had the ball in his hands and goes over to score, and everyone was just obviously celebrating the try, but thinking, how has he passed that?
Right, I'm just watching it now. No, so it's his right hand that goes underneath his left arm. So he wraps his own right arm round his body and offloads it round the back of his
and
own.
keeps his right arm off the floor so he's not tackled.
Yeah.
Scoops it through straight into Bentley's arm. I think
it's not just the offload, is it? It's also him. Yeah, it was a really bad pass from Reece. I'm just looking at it again. But he picks up the ball and he runs with it purpose, doesn't he? Like he hits the ball's on the ground bouncing, but he picks it up straight away. And his first movement is straightforward. There's no guessing about, what should I do? Yeah. He just goes straight forward. And that's quite a hard offload to do, to wrap your whole arm around your own body. I can't even do that. I'll pull my arm muscle if I do that.
There your back crack if you do that again.
Yeah. Dislocate my shoulder. But yeah, it was just. I don't think there are many. I think he is just a consistent player. 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 every game, 100 meters. Minimum. He's just.
I don't think there's a player in the league who could hit that pass other than Nenny McDonald.
Ali Lau could.
Not in the league.
I know it's not in the league. I'm just saying Ali Lau could.
Not anymore, mate.
I can't think of many centres. It's not necessarily people that could do it, but people would think to do it. Because I certainly would have thought to do it in that situation.
No, and it takes skill.
I would have been gassed. I'd have been 80 metres down the pitch.
It takes skill and audacity and to back yourself. To say, I can hit this pass. I can find James Bentley from here. I've got 2 players on me. I'm going to try a scoop, reverse, offload straight into his arm. I mean, Loz, we are running out of words. You called him class there, but I mean, this guy is player of the year, possibly.
It's not a bad shout, is it? I mean, he's
definitely him or Holroyd for me, I reckon.
He's very much a player who he always wants to give. He always wants to do something with the ball, doesn't he? He always wants to be creative, or at least try to be creative. I mean, he has to be our player of the season, hasn't he? Really? I can't think. Really,
I think so.
Stands out.
Him or Holroyd. Do you think Johnson at half-back is something we're going to stick with? Or do you think we will see Jack at some point this year, Reece?
Oh, no, I don't. I don't think. I thought you were thinking about next year then. I don't think we'll see Sinfield this year unless there's any injuries. And I'm basing that on just on the team that we've got. I'm happy to keep consistent halfbacks because it's something we haven't been able to do for about 4 years now. So whilst I don't think Corey's best position is there, and he's had some good moments in that position, but he's also not stood out. I think it's worth just keeping him and Caesar together with Smith at 13 just to keep consistency for the rest of the season. But next year, he very much needs to be involved with the rotation of Jared, Cam in that fluidity and from that perspective.
So you don't want to see Gannon at 6, Reece?
Where is Gannon? Is he back yet?
He were on the subs bench for reserves.
Right. Okay. No, I definitely don't want to see Gannon at 6.
Laurie,
you know that's a trigger.
Laurie, Corey Johnson. Corey Johnson. Or do you think? And also, sorry, do you think we'll see Jack Sinfield this year, or do you think it's reserves football for him?
I kind of agree with Reece. I think you need to stick with consistency, but I just feel like at some point we might have to play him. I'm not saying that there might be an injury or a ban, but there's part of me that thinks he might have to get played, but I wouldn't change it for the sake of changing it at the minute.
Yeah. I want to see Jack, but I think Rowan's going to keep him out for as long as possible unless there are injuries. We did kind of touch on Sam Walters a little earlier when Reece mentioned him. We have to talk about him because he was another one who I thought had a fantastic game. I thought he ran it really well and hard. And just like Reece said earlier, it's just so disappointing and bittersweet that he's leaving us, because I do think what's easily forgotten, just due to his sheer lack of size, is his age. It melts my heart that he's gone or he's going. But another great game, Laurie, from Sam Walters.
He's quickly improved. I think this year has been almost you've seen him when the first couple of games that hit at St Helens, and you're thinking, we thought, oh, he's just coming to the team for this game, we'll see what he's like, how he's doing. And now you look at him and he's like, literally, he's probably one of our best forward. He probably is our best forward at the minute, I think, personally.
There is some really annoying irony is that when we announced we sold him or we're selling him, he started every fucking game. Sorry, George.
I know.
And that annoys me more than anything. Like, like if we'd have played him at the start of the season and week in, week out, you might have seen this and put more money on the table, the money that he's probably worth, than the money that Wigan's given him. I actually thought his best part of the game today was his defence. He was ferocious in defence today. He was putting hits in left, right, and centre. Whether he'll top the tackle count, I don't think he will, because obviously they come off on the prop interchange. But he certainly put a decent shift in defence and was putting some cracking hits in. And I do enjoy the arrogance of putting your arms out in front of the Warrington fans after scoring a try after, we've still like 60 minutes left of the game. He also did it at full time, though, which I also fully appreciated.
He does seem to be a bit of a wind-up merchant.
Particularly against the Widnes rivalry teams. I think, those teams around there, I think he does love it. I think he raises his game against those teams because I think it, in a way, it might mean a little bit more to him personally. But
do you like it when he does that? When he winds opposition up?
I like it when I'm confident in the team. When I'm not confident in the team, I'm a bit like, probably a bit too early that.
Do you like it, Moles, when he winds up opposition players?
I don't think it's a good way of doing things, but I don't mind if you're doing it at the end of the game and you're comfortably winning. But yeah, doing it so early on can be a bit like, what are you doing, lad? But yeah, I don't know.
If it drives him, it seems to drive him out his own performance. And as long as he doesn't lose his head, like your Bentleys and other people have done in Super League, I'm kind of like, well, if you're going to do it, then own it. And then also show it. Like, don't do it if you've been crap, but like, if you've missed a tackle or whatever. But he didn't really put a foot wrong today, did Sam? He would probably be my man of the match, but I'm not giving it to him because he's going to win.
No, that's not allowed.
Yeah.
No.
I do have another positive, by the way, to talk about.
Oh. Attendance.
No, actually, no. I was going to come on to that. But Reece Martin kicking all of his kicks is another reason why we've won that game.
Yes. Welcome back, Reece.
Yeah. I thought he hasn't been missing that many, has he?
No.
Well, Sam Walters next year will be winding us up.
Yeah, he will do that.
It'll be interesting next year when we play Wigan to see our thoughts on Sam playing against us, and if he stretches his arms out and tells us all to, we'll be coming on here frothing at the mouth, absolutely raging. But fear not, Leeds fans, because Sam Walters, the second he walks out the door at Headingley, is going to turn into the worst Wigan signing in the history of Wigan Rugby League. I can assure you.
Any Wigan fans listening, just clip.
I'm going to say that's going to be a sound clip, isn't it? That's going to be clipped.
Might even do it myself just to play to him next year.
I'm trying my best. I've made, and I'll have to get it, but I'm like a witch doctor, and I've made a little voodoo doll.
How big is it?
I'm gonna. It's life size.
Is it taller than you? Yeah.
I'll bring it in next week, and I'm just gonna twist him here and prod him there, and make sure that he's gonna have the worst career. I'm only joking.
I would like to take credit for Ratchford missing one of his kicks though today, because I thought I'd try that. You know that clip from the NRL where you're saying you're putting it right, aim left. I tried that. I was like, aim left, it's going right, and then he full on went very wide right. So I'm going to take the claim for that.
How long does he take to kick a conversion?
There was a lot of things that took a lot of time today that really annoyed me. Looking at their first try, I don't even know why that went up, to be honest, because it was quite easy to try. The one when they looked at Fossey Tua's try for about 15 hours, looking at everything, I was like, I don't even know what you're looking at. You go straight into the bread basket.
It doesn't exist. Whatever you're looking for doesn't exist.
Yeah, and ironically, the one they should have looked at, they didn't look at. But yeah, there was quite a few things that took a long time today. But yeah, Ratchford's kicking time was definitely up there.
Yeah. Luke Gale used to take the longest, didn't he? At Cass when he had the comb over. It took him about 20 minutes. He'd sort his hair out, do his comb over, then do his routine, and then miss it anyway. What do you think of just lastly, just from the match before we jump into a Huddersfield preview. What do you think of Sam Bird? I don't think we've spoke about this at all on the pod. What do you think of Sam Burgess becoming the new head coach in 2024, Laurie? Because personally, I think it's probably the biggest draw rugby league could have, other than maybe Eddie Jones or Owen Farrell, or because I genuinely believe this. That's the biggest name that could come to Super League, Sam Burgess. If Craig Bellamy came over here, or Wayne Bennett, or Trent Robinson, they wouldn't have the draw and media coverage that Sam Burgess would have, because everyone in England knows Sam Burgess from Union League and, of course, in the NRL. What do you think, Loz, of Burgess going to YA next year?
It's either going to be ultimate banter and they'll be terrible under him, or it's going to be a masterstroke, and I can't decide. From what I gather and from what I've been reading, Roosters are a bit gutted that he's going, and they thought he could do something for them. But I don't know. I just think it's either a work of genius and they're thinking, right, he's going to do something good for us. But it just seems a bit too left field. I mean, it could be a good cut. I mean, he's been a good assistant, and he's been assistant down there for a bit.
Is it left field? I mean, an assistant coach in the NRL is about the standard head coaches we recruit over. Willie Peters he was an assistant, wasn't he? Willie Peters.
Yeah.
Rowan has been an assistant. Holbrook was an assistant, wasn't he, before he came over? So it is about the right type of appointment. If you take the man aside from NRL, that we tend to get as head coaches over here.
I think for me, I just think it could be a work. I think it's either going to be a work of genius, and Warrington will do really well under him, or I just think it's going to flop. I don't know. I can't decide. But
I agree with you, Eddie, though, about the media bit and this, and that there's going to be so much talk in the off season about it. There's going to be so much talk in the build up to the season. There's going to be loads of attention from it, from the NRL, from Super League, and a bit of rugby union as well. I think I think it's a sort of appointment that I think will be good for Super League in general, because we will get attention. Whether he'll do well or not, I don't know, because if you take his personal stuff out of it, you'd have got one of the most experienced rugby league players, probably one of the best exports of the Super League. And he's an NRL assistant coach. He's been doing that for a couple of years. You put all that together, that sounds like the perfect pedigree head coach for Super League. It's just whether he's the right. Warrington keep talking about a culture change, don't they? They've been under a culture change for 15 years now, or something stupid like that. Whether he's the right person to do that bit, that's the bit I think will be interesting for Sam, is if he's the one that can lead any sort of change in culture. But I'm excited for it. I'm intrigued to see how it goes, because it feels like a very Warrington thing. Like as Laurie says, it's either going to go extremely well, or extremely shit.
It is. It's. Go on, Loz.
I think that's the point. I think it's more. Don't get me wrong. I think Sam Burgess will be a good coach, but I think it's him mixing with Warrington that makes it a bit bonkers. I don't know. There's something that, if it were another team, you'd be like, yeah, that's quite good. But I don't know, for some reason, I just think with Warrington, it's a little bit, I don't know. Is it a perfect match? I don't know.
Possibly. It's. You're both right. It's a very, very Warrington thing to do. I think Warrington are the only side in the league that would do possibly something like this. And I agree with Adam, who said on our YouTube chat, he thinks Burgess could draw some big side. Did everyone hear that?
It's 8 o'clock.
Every time.
Listen. It's the
get your Magnums, 99s. Mr. Whip is here.
Laurie's on. And it hits 8 o'clock. That ice cream van's there playing match at day. We've even got like a Laurie ice cream van fan club with people listening out for the every time Laurie's on. Why is there an ice cream van?
No, at 8 o'clock every night. Madness.
Adam is saying that he thinks Sam Burgess could bring in some big signings.
And I agree with that, because especially in terms of the NRL, he would be a massive draw to some players over there. They know who he is. They'll be aware of his reputation at the Rabbit Hose with Great Britain, with England. And I think they'll want to work with him. I think probably the biggest draw, apart from the Rhinos, of course, to work with Burgess. And they've already been linked with is it Justin Olam from Storm. So it's very early days, but Warrington will throw the money at him as well. They'll say, right, get rid of who you want from current side and bring in who you want as well. Whether it'll work out, I don't know, but
I hope he strikes a balance, actually, because I think one of Warrington's biggest weaknesses is not growing their own talent.
Yeah.
And you look at the sides that win Super League. I think didn't Saints put our side this weekend where 10 of the starting 13 were from the academy?
Yeah.
Or something like that. That is quality, as much as I hate the twats. That is you've got to admire that. And I think that's where Warrington have come short, really. So if he gets that blend right, it could go, but I'm just not sure that's Warrington's way. They always like to blow the cash on old veterans signings, don't they? One more positive, by the way, before we get the attendance.
Yes.
I thought Rhinos do the family day really, really well. I was fully expecting a 12,000 today. I was expecting a bit low. I saw loads of comments online about people saying they're not coming and all this sort of stuff. So clearly, they don't come anyway. But yeah, I was really pleased with the attendance. It didn't feel like 15,000. I'm not going to lie.
It didn't. I was a bit.
I'm assuming they were counting the millions of kids they invited for free in that. But I actually also enjoyed Sunday afternoon rugby. I quite like Sunday afternoon. I hate the sort of Thursday, Friday nights. Everyone's rushing back after the game to get home because they've got work the next day, or you're rushing back from work to get there. You missed the women's fixtures. I only missed the women's fixture today, really, because of the women's football. But I thought Rhinos did a really good job today in setting up a really good atmosphere for the day. And 15,000 is great considering where we are.
They did, and the family day stuff works, especially with the 3 games, and I mean the weather as well. They couldn't have asked for a better. It was just a complete home run, grand slam day of sport. You could watch the Women's World Cup final straight down to Headingley for all the family fun day, and then the women's game, and then the men's, and then the reserves. It was just
there was loads watching a wheelchair in the South Stand.
Yeah.
Loads of people watching the wheelchair unfortunately got beat today by a very, very good Catalan side, which effectively actually is the France international side, if we're being true. But loads of people were watching that in the stand, and that was really good to have that on the TV because again, that one club mentality that we sometimes see, sometimes we don't. But today felt very much that. Today,
majority of this, apart from PDRL, all played today. Man of the match. From Leeds versus Warrington, I'll go to Laurie.
Hooley.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
A spanner in the works.
I mean, I know I've said, hear me out, just because it was unexpected, whereas if I'd have gone with Cam Smith, it would have been an expected one.
Well, that's who's going to get it.
I had 3 nominations.
All right, go on then, break them down.
Luke Hooley was one of them. Second game in a row, he's played really well. In fact, he played better today. First try, really good under the high ball. I don't think he really put a foot wrong, to be fair, Luke. Maybe some
kick into touch, but we won't talk about it. Too late.
Oh, yeah, that was the kickoff, yeah.
Sorry, Luke.
But, yeah, Luke was one. I thought Caesar was another one that deserves a shout. Because, again, he played brilliantly. Walters would have been a shout, but bugger him is off the Wigan. But
everything he does is redundant.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't count.
It's a mute point.
But the actual man of the match was Mr. Cameron Smith.
Cammy's back. The Appreciation Society. Yeah, without a doubt, Cammy, man of the match, and then Daylight. And then I probably would have said Nene.
Yeah.
Just listen to the panel. They're completely shocked.
No, I'm not shocked. I mean, obviously the offload deserves a mention for a nomination anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But I do think the defensive frailty probably outweighs it a little bit.
Yeah, but who cares about that? Think about the offload, everybody.
Yeah, just think about the offload. Just try to do it at home. You won't be able to do it, I promise.
No, you won't. There's no one in the league that can do it. Cam Smith, welcome back, Cammy. Official Lot Pod man of the match. I forgot who we're playing next. Huddersfield
away next.
Huddersfield away next. Just to wrap things up. Usual question, Reese. Squad, any changes, or are you sticking with kind of what we saw today?
Yeah, if Newman's feeling better and he's recovered well, I'm tempted to start Newman.
Is he going to play the 80? Or are you just giving him a push and then hooking him?
Well, the playoffs are on, aren't they? So he can play for like 2. How are we 2 points off the playoffs? I just don't understand it.
This is everybody. Let me just nip in here. This is the guy who last on the Lee review wrote us off.
Yeah, because this is just a stupid thing about sport. Because it just gives me unjustified optimism,
like the Titanic U-turn in this.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
literally, sport gives me so much stupidly unjustified optimism that I looked at the table and I thought, how we are actually in a chance of this. It'd be the most Leeds thing ever to sneak into those playoffs.
Yeah,
I don't think we deserve to be there at all. And it's weird that we're involved in it, but we are now involved in a playoff spot race for the 5th and 6th. You know, Warrington are off 8 on the bounce. KR have dropped off a bit. Salford.
I'm loving this. It's trying to justify it now.
I'm not trying to justify. I came in today thinking
this is delicious.
I came into today thinking I'm just going to enjoy an afternoon with my dad, my uncle, and my cousin, and my mate at the rugby, and just enjoy it. And then when we scored, they tried to go 8 points up. I went, please don't do this, Leeds. Please don't make me care about this result. Like, please don't make me do it. And then it's gone full swing now. So, yeah. But I think if Newman's fit and is recovered well after today, if I can, I'd start him, which would then mean I would push Martin back to second row and I'd push Bentley onto the bench. Although James McDonnell looked like he went off of an injury today, so it looks like James McDonnell might not be playing next week, depending on that. So if McDonnell's fit, I would push Bentley to the bench and let's have Reece back at the second row for a game. Other than that, I don't think there's much change. I don't think you can push Walters out. I've been trying to get Holroyd in the starting lineup, but Rowan's clearly not been listening. So I don't think you change the pack. I think the only change for me is just bringing Newman back in and then Martin to second row. So I am changing the pack. But yeah, is that done? I'm all right now.
Yes.
Can I go away?
If everybody just wants to keep an eye on Reece's Twitter, X, sorry, at the Owl and Fleece, Reece has just confirmed he's going to tweet out all the details for the Lot Pod meetup at the grand final. So if everybody he's back on the train, everybody.
The grand final. The grand final is
the driver of the train.
The grand final is 2 days before my honeymoon.
We're back on, baby.
Oh, I like the positive thinking.
I know. I loved how
I wasn't even planning to say that. I wasn't even planning to go down the playoff route, but I just felt the wave of Lot Pod or just Eddie's delusion come over me all of a sudden, and it was just like an intense wave that like just took over my mind.
Serious question: could it happen?
It will. Why does no one believe me? I said this last year. It will.
How mad would it be? How mad would it be if Leeds got to the grand final?
It'd be very Leeds. I think we need someone to do something because a playoffs without a team from Yorkshire in it is not good. I'm not happy about that.
There will be a team from Yorkshire in the playoffs.
So I just it could happen. Like, look, we've seen weird things happen. We've seen weird things happen. We've got Hull. No, we haven't. We've got Huddersfield, Hull, Wigan,
Catalans.
Yeah, Catalans. Yeah.
I don't know. Let's just see how we do on Sunday.
If we win on Sunday, brilliant. It's on.
It's on now. Anyway, back to the original question. Laurie, Huddersfield away next. The squad, any changes for you?
Unless you have to make any, I would keep it because you need to keep the momentum there in your team.
Do you keep Newman on the bench then?
If it's not 100%, yes.
Keep him there. I'd start him. It's playoff time now. So it's time to get him in the side and getting 80 minutes in his legs. I'd start him and then just push Reece to second row.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were like pushing me over the edge then for a second.
I just push Reece away.
Push Reece further into the delusion, into organising a grand final party.
Oh no, I think you're king deluded after that speech. Justifying the playoffs.
I'm not taking that mantle. I'm meant to be the rational one.
I'm going to clip that and put that on X. I'm going to clip that and put it on X and say, everybody, he's back.
Stop calling it X. Stop calling it.
Reece, I'm really sorry. But
Reece,
Twitter
you're
doesn't
gonna-
exist.
I mean, I won't be at the grand final, but you organising the grand final food then?
Yeah, Reese's.
Right, thanks very
Everyone-
much for joining the Lot Pod this evening.
If everyone just follows at the Owl and Fleece, Reese will X the details out nearer the time. Nearer the time. You know, similar meet up to last year. Right, prediction for Huddersfield, Laurie?
Leeds by 2.
Oh my God. Have you not felt the delusion in the room today? You just shot it down. Reese, bring it back.
No, I'm on this podcast purely to bring some rationale and bring your opinion down to level it out. So I'm going to say Leeds 20, Giants 16. Newman will get his first try back.
Nice. I like that.
Here we
I'm
go.
going to say, I do think Harry will score. I think Harry will
17.
score. I think Hanley will score a hat trick. And I don't think Reece Martin will miss a kick. And I'm going to say Leeds by 41. I think we'll, towards the end, kick a drop goal.
All right.
To Caesar will just knock one over against his old side and then do a Klingsman topless in front of Huddersfield fans. Reece, thank you as always.
It's amazing
Laurie.
how different this pod is when we win, isn't it?
Thank you. Yeah. It's a much better place to be. We're one for ages. Embrace it. Enjoy it, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, everybody, for watching on our YouTube channel. If you are listening back to this on iTunes or Spotify, we do live stream all of our podcasts on YouTube. So if you just search for us on YouTube, The Lot Pod, that's us. Like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. You'll be notified every time we go live to record one of these podcasts. We'll be back to review said Huddersfield game. Take care, everyone.